I think you just flunk in mythology, sir. It's the Bible it's categorized as mythological. Just so you know.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are written with a literary style of historical narrative, meaning by that, at this time, in this place, with these people around, Jesus said this, he did that. It reads like the New York Times, the LA Times. It's reportage, eyewitness reportage. It's not once upon a time in the land of Nod, wink and blink and a nod took a boat ride.
What happens when a group of sharp, skeptical students corners one man with the questions society is afraid to ask out loud? At a university open-air debate, Cliffe faces a relentless crowd challenging everything from the race of Jesus to whether the Bible is history or mythology. One student demands, how can you separate Jesus from Hercules? Another pushes deeper. If there is no God, who defines right and wrong? And a self-described atheist quietly asks whether a moral person still goes to hell. Cliffe pushes back hard, drawing sharp lines between historical narrative and mythology, between moral relativism and objective truth. The tension is real, the disagreement is raw, and the stakes could not be higher, because the answers to these questions determine not just belief, but how we live. The question is, who actually wins this argument?
The story of the Bible is not new. It's been like the Gospels. The story of the Gospel is not new. If you look at mythology, there's plenty, like more than enough, the stories that look just like Jesus. And I mean, it's not folklore, it's mythology, and it's not like someone just came up and did that. It's just tradition and knowledge that has been passed down by many cultures, not just by some random group of guys. The 12 apostles, there's many other characters in mythology that have followed apostles also. So it's not like
there's some little.
the story of Jesus. It's not. I mean, that he had exactly 12 apostles, that 3 magicians follow him. It's not just random numbers. It's being passed down. It's knowledge. It's not just. I mean, it's the Bible is just a blend of cultures, a blend of traditions that have been passed down that finally consolidated in the book. That's what I believe. How do you account for those many stories that happened way before Jesus Christ?
All right, but sir, just listen to what you're saying. What I've heard you say is, because Jesus had 12 apostles, and because another religious teacher has had 12 followers.
Not just 12 followers, just death and resurrection. Same, you know.
Good. Give me an example of someone who historically dies and historically rises from the dead. Give me another example other than Jesus.
Hercules. He went to Hades and brought back the dead and came from the world of the dead, just like Jesus went to hell and came back and resurrected. That's just like Jesus went to hell and came back.
Sir, Hercules is not an historical person.
It's a mythological one, as I said.
It's a mythological person.
Yeah.
Hercules is not a human being who died and then rose from the dead.
How do you know that Jesus is a human being that died and rose from the dead? How do you differentiate Jesus from Hercules if your only source is the Bible? Just like Hercules, your sources are mythological texts.
Well, sir, what you're going to have to learn to do is you're going to have to look, and you better do it quickly because otherwise you will flunk literature courses. You're going to have to learn to tell the difference between mythology and historical narrative.
So the Bible
if you
is
think that
historical
Matthew,
narrative?
Mark, Luke, absolutely.
Oh well, I don't know of any other historical book that talks about Jesus and that he died and resurrected aside from the Bible.
Well, then you need to read Antiquities by Josephus.
Can you tell me, Josephus? It's one. Tell me another.
Tacitus and Suetonius talk about followers of Christ.
Followers, not that he died and resurrected.
Oh, yes.
They say that he died.
The Jewish Mishnah has very hostile references to Jesus as being a false prophet. Very hostile references. So obviously, Jesus was an historical person. He was not a mythological figure. Sir, if you can't tell the difference between mythology and historical narrative as literary genres, you will flunk your literature
I
class.
think you just flung anthropology, sir, because it's the Bible it's categorized as mythological. Just so you know.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are written with a literary style of historical narrative, meaning by that, at this time, in this place, with these people around, Jesus said this, he did that. It reads like the New York Times, the LA Times. It's reportage, eyewitness reportage. It's not once upon a time in the land of Nod, Wynken, Blinken, and Odd took a boat ride. It's not once upon a time at all. It's at this time, in this place, during the rulership of Pontius Pilate, Tiberius Caesar, Herod. That's when it happened.
So, do you believe the Bible being a literal fact, just not a philosophical book where it's where wisdom is supposed to be learned of, and just some random well, not random, but like a historical book that you should read just like a textbook?
The Bible includes different literary styles. Obviously, the Psalms are poetry. Obviously, the book of Revelation is apocalyptic literature. Obviously, there's a lot of history, but when Jesus says, I'm the light of the world, it's not intellectually honest to say, oh, he's claiming to be a 100-watt light bulb. That's what it means to read the text literally.
Well,
no, you allow a writer and a speaker to use simile, metaphor, parable, allegory.
But that's what you're saying. You're saying that everything that's like the 12 disciples can be just how do you call it? Like an allegory for the 12 zodiac signs. I mean, you can't really just like, what do you take for what is literal, and what is metaphor, and what's allegory? Do you know? Like, I mean,
you better learn how to distinguish metaphor from what is factual. You better. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to make it through a literature class. You've got to learn to distinguish historical narrative from mythology, legend, romance literature. If you read Homer's Iliad and Odyssey and walk away saying, that's historical narrative, you're making a humongous mistake. Well, obviously, Homer's Iliad and Odyssey are epic poetry.
That existed in history. They have, just like Jesus, they tell you a place, a time, and certain people that appear there. Why can't they be compared to the Bible?
Well, obviously.
Well, you say obviously, but it's not obviously.
Obviously, Muhammad was an historical person who really lived, taught, fought, and died. No question about it. Obviously, Siddhartha Gautama Buddha is not a myth. Siddhartha Gautama Buddha is a man who really lived. Obviously, the historical evidence is that Jesus Christ really lived. Obviously, the Holocaust really occurred. But General Eisenhower made sure that after the Allied victory of World War II, he had journalists come from Europe, from England, and the United States to record Dachau, Auschwitz, and Buchenwald. Yeah. Because he did not want the lie to be spread that, oh no, those death camps never existed. That was just an Allied plot in propaganda.
Just comparing the Holocaust to this, it's
that's not what we're talking about. So we're talking about historical literature. Nailing down, did this really happen or did it not happen? And I can promise you, sir, the overwhelming evidence is Muhammad was not a myth. Muhammad is not Oedipus.
I'm not talking about Muhammad, I'm talking about Jesus.
I know, and the overwhelming historical evidence is Jesus is not a myth.
What's the historical evidence?
The historical evidence of the New Testament Gospels, of the writings of Josephus, Tacitus, Suetonius, the Jewish Mishnah clearly points to Jesus. No, sir. The Jewish Mishnah was not part of the Bible.
No,
Josephus was not part of the Bible. Tacitus and Suetonius were not part of the Bible.
There's many readings about other mythologies, other mythological figures, not just, if you know, like, mythology is a bunch of books about mythological people, not just one book.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the Bible, I mean, there's other recordings about mythological people from the Bible in other readings.
What are you referring to? You say a lot of mythologies talk about an historical person? Sir, that's not mythology. Mythology is not claiming that this is historical.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying It's that you can't take into account, like, you say that mythological characters are mythological, but you're saying that Jesus is not mythological just because you believe that.
No,
That's a belief.
that
You
is
don't
not
have.
what I said, sir.
Yes, you did.
You're not listening. Then
Just
let me
because
say it
you
again.
based yourself on the Bible.
Let me say it again. I'll say it again for you one more time. You and I, as thinking people, must learn to distinguish between the literary style, mythology, epic poem, poetry, scientific literature, and historical narrative. You have a history department here at this fine university. You're paying a lot of money to study history. Why? Because history is a legitimate form of knowledge.
And I read the Bible, and it looks nothing like historical writings that I write. It looks more like the Iliad or the Odyssey. I am sorry, sir. That's how it is.
That's intellectually dishonest. The Iliad and the Odyssey
it's not.
are epic poems.
Have you read the Iliad and the Odyssey?
I sure have.
Have you read
And
the
I've studied the Iliad and the Odyssey.
It
and
looks
the
a
literary
lot like the
style
Bible.
is epic poem. And if you don't believe me, just go to your literature professor
I think
and
you
ask him,
probably find-
what's the literary style of the Iliad and the Odyssey of Homer? It's obviously epic poem.
Well, it's not.
The Gospels are not epic poem. The Gospels are, at this time, in this place, with these individuals around. Archaeology supports the place names listed in the Gospels. Archaeology supports Pontius Pilate, Herod Agrippa,
They also
leaders listed.
support Troy. They also support Menelaus. They also support all of those, and they were in the Iliad. You can't just say that history supports Jesus and not say that history doesn't support the Iliad. Exactly. So I just want to.
Have a great day. Take care.